Hello, hello, hello. Hey, spiritual gems. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if I am clear audio. Because I know the first time we went live, we had issues. So we don't want to have any issues tonight. Because I definitely want to communicate some things. Hope everyone is doing well on this Wednesday evening, Mercury Day. Happy Mercury Day. Our day of really being able to digest information, being able to communicate. This is the prime day for that. So, hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello. I see y'all. Great. I'm going to get started. I'm going to give it another minute and then we can go ahead and get started. Hello, hello, y'all. How's the day treating you? How's February treating you? This year is already, it's moving, ain't it? I told you, I said it's going to move fast. And, you know, we are at the end of February pretty much. So I hope y'all are capitalizing on every single day, being really intentional about what you're doing and how you're spending your energy and all of that jazz. Yes, it's Pisces season. Where my Pisces gang at? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Gang, Pisces, gang. I see y'all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because we're going to be talking about the Virgo full moon, and that's coming up on Saturday. And actually, you know, I didn't grab the time, so let's look at the time. It's going to happen at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, okay? So that's this Virgo full moon, and it's happening on Saturday, February 24th. So you have a couple days to prepare, especially using the information that you're getting from this video. And if you are tuned into anybody else here on the tube, or just your own intuition, you have a couple days. Full moon energy is great, not just the day of, but you can work with it 2 days prior, prime, and then 2 days right after the the full moon. So you have a 5-day window for really just, you know, concentrating on this energy and using it to your advantage, okay? So this upcoming Virgo full moon is going to be at 5 degrees. And I'm also going to pull up my chart here on the side so I can look at it while I talk to you guys. And that way we don't miss anything. And if you guys want me to show my chart as well, let me know. I was able to do that last time really easily, so I don't think there'll be a problem, but I'm going to keep it off screen just for the simplicity sake right now. But this moon is going to be sitting at 5 degrees. And we know 5 degrees, 5 in astrology, or in numerology rather, not astrology, but numerology. 5 is always synonymous with change. We know that 5 is the number we hear. Change, right? But 5 is also Mercury ruled, which is also the ruler over Virgo's energy. So it hones in on adaptability or being flexible. It really goes into freedom and adventure. So yes, change is one of the aspects of 5 energy, but we also have to keep in mind the other things, which is that adaptability, being able to move and flow so freely. And we're smack dab in the middle of Pisces season. We just started a couple days ago. So Pisces is like mutable energy as well. So it's all about adapting and flowing into changes. And a lot of times the flowing of Pisces energy is with its water qualities, so into the emotions, into the feelings, into the depths of ourselves. So this 5 theme is is very much strong in terms of the adaptability piece or the flexibility. And also with it being Mercury ruled, it's really going into our intellect in our communication. It's all about how we process information and how we then disseminate that information that we then understand. So again, Virgo being also Mercury ruled is also very much about that, being analytical, just being able to pick things apart, detail by detail, just zeroing in, focus, making a plan, analyzing things inside out is really one of Virgo's strengths. Okay. Virgo is very meticulous, very detailed, organized, likes to put order to the chaos. So if it sees a bunch of pieces scattered, it can look at all those individual pieces, but then it can also like put it together and make a bigger picture. So using that energy during this full moon is going to be very important because we have some things coming in for us. It's also very communicative, as we said before, practical. So it helps us just really ground ourselves, ground our ideas, ground our thoughts, ground our emotions. And it's also really disciplined. And that's one thing that I know that a lot of us are struggling with, especially when we are trying to move things forward, is trying to get ourselves to a place of being more self-disciplined. And I have a call coming in. Let me put that on mute. But yeah, so that is a lot of Virgo's energy. Okay. Virgo is also mutable earth energy. So again, it goes into that very same piece of flexibility, adaptability, being able to flow through changes, but also being grounded and being real. And a lot of the times when we're looking at that aspect with the moon energy, with a Virgo moon, we're looking at that in terms of our feelings or our emotions and being able to kind of ground that as well. So we get into a space where we get to analyze kind of what we're thinking, how we're feeling, what is going on with us, more of our internal world, not really much the external world, but more so the internal world. And then also just, focusing on how we can improve ourselves or improve our lives, improve our systems, our process of how we're doing things. It also helps us zero in on because Virgo energy is giving energy, is very service oriented. We have to remember Virgo rules the sixth house in astrology, which is our routines, it is our service, and it is our health. So all of these things can also be coming into focus for you during the time of this full moon. Now, with this full moon, it's going to be opposite Saturn. So, and I've got some notes here written because I was like, I don't want to miss some of the things that are important to communicate here. But Saturn, we know Saturn is our responsibility. Saturn is our accomplishment, our limitations. Saturn is that hardworking energy. And when you have this moon sitting opposite Saturn, the energy can feel very serious. It's like there's a seriousness to it that we just can't shake off. We feel a little heavy, and we also feel frustrated by our circumstances, whether we're limited by our finances or by people or by particular circumstances. There is something that is just kind of grating us. And a lot of the times, what is grating us, yes, some of those are external factors, but a lot of times it's our internal factors that are really keeping us frustrated or limited because it's our self-limiting behaviors. And that's what we are looking at. Really, we're trying to zero in on what is it, whether it be fear-based, whatever it is, conditioning, our mental process, and why we are allowing self-limiting behaviors to keep us back. Like, what are the things that we're engaging in? The little things, the little habits, the little day-to-day stuff that is sabotaging us and where we want to be or what we want to do. So there's slow progress, and slow progress can lead to frustration, especially if you feel stagnant in a lot of ways. We can get into a space, because Virgo likes to analyze and nitpick and be very, nitpicky about things, perfectionism quality at times. We can get into a space of being really hard and critical on ourselves. And that is due to us either lacking the patience, the consistency, the discipline, the focus to make things happen, knowing that we should be doing these things or should have all of these things in play, and we're still not there. But the beauty of this particular full moon is that we can lean on the Virgo qualities, not to get into the critical part of the things that we have been lacking so far, but how do we take those things, because those things are now available to us, and implement them into the systems and the things that we need to build going forward to move ourselves out of this place of stagnation. So we do get to call on Virgo to say, hey, I need a little bit more focus. I need a little bit more consistency. I'd like to implement some more self-discipline, please. What about some focus? Can I add a little bit of that in there? And actually help us move those things forward, okay? So this is really asking us to pay attention to detail, to the very small things. How are we self-sabotaging? What are self-limiting beliefs, behaviors, things that are going on with us? And it's just little tiny things. We need to zero in on the tiny things. Sometimes we want to zoom out and look at the big things without looking at all the little tiny pieces that make that up. And that's what we really need to be looking at, is our systems. And our systems are built by our daily habits. The things that we do, say, engage in on a day-to-day are what is building us up, either for success or for, I don't want to say failure, I'll just say stagnancy, right? Just to keep it simple. I hope this is resonating so far. Give me a thumbs up if you are feeling the message at this particular point. Now, what we also have is Mercury opposite this moon, okay? So Mercury being on the other side of this moon energy is giving us a little bit more oomph in terms of like our mind being a little bit more sharp. So we are able to, because like I said, Mercury is our processing of the information. So we're able to analyze kind of on a deeper level. We have more access to our mental faculties in terms of like really analyzing and taking in this information and being able to really see it clearly with this energy, okay? That's on one end. So we're getting that insight. So put a pin in that, right? The other thing with this is that it's giving that gift to analyze our emotional patterns. But on the flip side of that, we can get into a mode of overanalyzation. So balance is required, right? Because then we can get into this, overanalyzing, looking at it 10 times over and upside down and right side up. And it's just like, okay, you've got the information, you see it, process it, move forward in terms of, okay, what do I need to change incrementally in order to make this happen? Instead of getting to this place of over analyzing it to the point where you start to get confused. And I don't know if anybody else has had that, experience where the longer you've read or looked at something or tried to study something, the more confusing it actually got instead of being clear. And it's like, if I would have just looked at this, took it for what it was right off the top, instead of like really, really trying to nitpick at it and just pick it apart, then I would have been able to move on much quicker. So that's kind of what I'm getting at with this Mercury opposition happening here. We want to use it for that insight and the gift that it's giving us to analyze our emotional patterns and our habits and the different things, but we don't want to get too far into it, okay? And this is Pisces season. So with Pisces season, we're being led through this process by our intuition, by our sensitivity, which means our compassion for ourselves and for others during this process, and also our creativity, because Pisces energy gives us that imagination. It gives us the creativity to be able to say, I can do it in this way, or I can change something slightly in this manner, and it can be unique to you and it has your own stamp on it, and then it works for you because it is being intuition led and it's coming from within. All right. Okay. Are we? Yes, Atomic Habits. And oh my gosh, I am going there. You are so tuned and tapped in. Okay. So stay with me. We are headed right there. All right. Put a pin on Atomic Habits because we're coming to that. All right. So the last thing I will say with this moon, we have, the last big thing to keep in mind is that we also have the trine happening with Taurus. Now, Taurus, I'm sorry, it's Uranus. Uranus sitting in the sign of Taurus. I was like, something's missing here. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, all right? So this trine with Uranus and Jupiter is great. Now, Jupiter is helping us bring positive outlook to what we want to go towards. So it's like Jupiter's coming in Taurus, and it's like, okay, I'm going to sprinkle, like, yes, things feel heavy and they feel a bit, just frustrating right now because you're not where you want to be, and you know that you got to implement these changes, and now you see the changes you need to implement. But I'm going to come in and sprinkle that dose of confidence and positivity and just optimism, so like, yeah, it's possible, it can be done. It's also sitting in the sign of Taurus, which is our resources, right? So now we get to really start to pay attention and like, okay, these are the things that I need to make happen. These little small incremental changes or things that I need to call on within my life in order to get me from here to here, right? And that can look different for so many of us. I don't care if it's you making a career jump. I don't care if it's you with money. I don't care if it's a relationship or up leveling your own self-esteem or your self-image. They're just your health. There could be so many ways that it can play out. But there are resources at our disposal. A lot of the times we're not even paying attention to. Sometimes we think we need to have this thing. If I got the money so I can buy this, then I can make this process happen, or I can put this system in place. And it's like, you already have resources at your disposal. A lot of times we already have everything that we need to get started and to move forward. We're equipped with everything that we need at this particular point. So those resources aren't just in the form of money. They're in the form of people. They're in the form of opportunities, in the form of environments. What are you missing around you that you can tap into in order to build these small habits and these systems for yourself in order for you to move forward? Okay. So that is another thing that we are getting as a gift with this Virgo full moon, as we're looking at our systems and really analyzing what we're not doing and what we need to be doing. Start to look at the resources piece as well. What do you feel like you need in that process, and what is actually around you that you haven't been paying attention to? All right. So we are about 20 minutes in, I think, at this point. All right. So I want to go on ahead and shift gears into a ritual, I would say, that will help you with this Virgo full moon, or the way that you can use this Virgo full moon to your advantage. Now, Atomic Habits was mentioned earlier, and I said put a pin in that because I wanted to talk about Atomic Habits, because this is the book that really helped me think about what kind of ritual would be great for this Virgo full moon. So I thought about, who are we? We are the main characters in our own individual stories. And whatever story we're writing right now, the main character, who is us, we are just like, we need to make some tweaks and changes in order for the story that we want to play out, although we can't control it 100%, but we want to go in a particular direction, and we would like to see the story unfold like this. So there are certain things that our character needs to do in order to have this story play out as such. And so our characters need upgrades, right? And it's like, sometimes people say, oh, this is a reinvention of yourself, or I don't think we need to reinvent ourselves, in terms of there's nothing wrong with the baseline of us. We just need some upgrades. We just need a little bit of improvement. And so I wanted to talk about what I thought a great way to think about this is, okay? So Atomic Habits is a book by James Clear. If you guys have not read it, it's a really, really good book. And it gets into really about how you can change the little habits in your life to produce the biggest results. Sometimes we're thinking like it's about setting the big goals and making big leaps and doing big things in order to have progress and movement. But it is those tiny, every little day things like drinking water, getting outside for fresh air, writing out your thoughts, going for a walk and exercising and getting your blood moving. It's those tiny little things that are actually setting us up for the systems of success in our life. So 3 things that are mentioned in this book, okay? We have to change our identity by having an identity shift comes from a change in perspective. Let me slow down because I'm getting too excited here. So once we change our perspective, we can shift our identity, which then gets us to upgrade that main character. First of all, you have to figure out who do you want to be, right? So there's 3 things that the book touches on. Is that 1, small habits make a big difference. Like I mentioned, it's those little systems. Every day, those habits make up those systems, your routines, your morning routine, your night routine, your work routine, the little things that you do, right? How you eat, how you sleep. Also, the second thing that it talks about is forgetting about setting those big goals, because you need to focus on the system itself. And again, the system is made up of those tiny habits. And the third thing is to build identity-based habits, basically deciding who you want to be and proving it to yourself and gaining confidence with yourself by having small wins along the way. So making those tiny commitments, right? Like I am committing for my system of health to drink water every day, to drink this amount of water every day. And we're starting off with small habits. We're not doing everything at once. We're just literally starting with one thing at a time. So my first task is that I'm going to incorporate more water into my day. What does that look like? I'm going to have at least 80 ounces of water a day. And proving to ourselves every day, okay, showing up, having that 80 ounces of water, and building that consistency and that confidence and that self-trust to then now stack a new habit on top of that, right? So this is how we're building our systems of success in terms of moving ourselves out of that space. So one of the things that was said in this book that I thought was really interesting is it says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. So if you are experiencing any type of frustration in terms of where you are currently, and you just can't seem to get yourself out of this space of stagnation, it is because your systems are failing you. It's not that you're not able to reach goals or you're not able to do things. It's because your systems that you have in place are not supportive of getting you to those places. And those systems are made up of the small habits. So an exercise that you can do is to pretty much dream up your main character. And your main character is you. So what does your upgraded main character do? How do they move? What kind of wins are they having in their life? How do you see their daily life playing out? How are they happy? How are they successful? What is meaningful to them? Also, on the same hand, you're also looking at what you're currently doing, right? What are your current systems? What are your current habits? And so what you want to do is see like, where is those gaps, right? If your upgraded character habits look like this in order to support this type of lifestyle they're living, they get up every day, they exercise, they feel energized, they do X, Y, and Z. And then on the other hand, you're looking at your daily habits and you're not moving, you're not exercising, you're not drinking water, you're not eating properly. What are some of those small ways that you can start bridging the gap to your upgraded character that you're looking at, right? So this is what I want you to do with this full moon energy. I really want you to analyze yourself, your habits, the systems that you need to put in place in order to get you moving forward. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions, because I know that was a lot. I was going for a minute there and I want to leave maybe 5 minutes. If you guys want to dive into anything specific, go on ahead and shoot. Did it resonate for anybody? Does anyone feel stagnant, frustrated with themselves in any particular area of life? I know for me, building self-discipline in certain ways, certain things that I'm pretty good about and other things that I'm not. One of my challenges lately has been trying to get my diet back on track to what it used to be in terms of having way more. I used to eat a lot more vegetables and fruit, and I'm still pretty good about my water intake, but trying to get there and trying to go back into those healthy habits and the consistent workout routine and stuff like that has been something that has been challenging to me. But my upgraded main character has a lot of energy. My upgraded main character is, very healthy and feels vibrant and eats well and gets energized by the things that she eats. And so I need to start bridging those habits. So if it's like small little things, systems every day to help me bridge the gap between those two, that's the things that I need to be looking at. And we have that analyzation energy with us during this full moon so that we can see how we can get there, those little steps. Yeah. Huh. So say more, spiritual gems. What is going on in your life right now that is resonating for you right now, if you don't mind telling us? I see beautiful sunrises and sunsets, says yes, in her business. Okay. Yep. 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 Definitely can resonate with that too. Yeah, we're not perfect, right? We are not perfect at all. And so we're humans, we're learning, and that's what this whole journey is about. It is about learning, but we have to be patient with ourselves in the process, but we also have to push ourselves at times. We can't just settle into comfort 24/7. We have to push ourselves to do the things that that we need to do. I'm not sure if this chat is delayed, but if you guys have any questions, let me know. If not, we will wrap this up. And I will say one of the things that I've been using in this upgraded main character, and it has been helpful, right? And I actually saw this as a suggestion in a comment on somebody else's content. But someone said that they use Chat GPT for helping them figure out something. And I was like, wait a minute. I wonder if I can start asking Chat GPT, if I put in specifically, what does this kind of person, the kind of person I would dream up my upgraded main character to be, this type of person who is I don't know, let's say for an example, we're going to say a very conscious, intentional, healthy, happy individual. What kind of habits do they engage in every day? What are the routines that they incorporate into their life? How do they think? Like, I asked ChatGPT to tell me these things, and it literally spit out an entire story or a narrative about this character. Now, am I saying you have to follow exactly word for word was said? But it was a great starting point to see, like, oh, if I'm really trying to embody this, these are the types of things that would be true of a person who does this. So what realistically from this can I start implementing now? How can I bridge that gap by taking some of those things? So it's again about that identity shift, right? And to shift our identity means to shift our perspective and to change our habits, the little ones. Okay, Spiritual Gem says you've been thinking about abundance and how much you limit yourself based on past beliefs, right? So, yes, what is your main character? If your upgraded main character of you is abundant, and abundant in every essence with all forms of resources, what does an abundant person act like? What kind of habits or little things that they do every day? What do their routines look like? What is their mindset like? Those are the different things that you can be thinking about or trying to get clarity on in terms of that. And like I said, if you can't figure out a starting point, go ask ChatGPT because they have a lot to say. And then that can kind of get your juices going. And then start thinking about little ways that you can start implementing some of the smallest things. Sometimes we want to make those quantum leaps. We can't. It's a bunch of little tiny steps, y'all. We're taking one step at a time. Don't stack all the habits right away and then feel disappointed that you have not reached or you can't do all of these things at once. It's small incremental shifts. So 1 week or 1 month, you're focused on really getting this one particular habit off the ground. And once you got a hold of that, then you get to put in another one, and then you get to put in another one. So it is being patient with ourselves in that process. You said you've healed so much there. Yeah. Yep, it does. Our minds will and our egos will do that with us. Our egos will definitely tell us that repeated narrative. Oh, you've always been bad with money. You're never going to have enough money, or you're never going to have resources. You're never going to be rich. It's not for you. It'll tell you all kinds of things to keep you stuck, to keep you in a place that you're not making any progress. And you have to know when to quiet. You have to know when to quiet your mind, because sometimes your thoughts can be equally destructive. They can pick you up and they can put you down at the same time. So that's where, positive affirmations, putting yourself in environments or in spaces that embody what you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to do, feeding your mind with good content, with books, with information, all of that stuff is what's going to really be helpful to you on your journey. We have our new year, our astrological new year starting next month. This is really a good time to get into the details, to really get into the weeds, and especially in Pisces season where our imaginations are lit on fire and our intuition and our spirituality is what is guiding us to get into that and see exactly what that looks like, envision what that looks like. So when our new year starts, you're putting all of those things into play, and you can even start, you don't even have to wait until that new year to put some stuff into motion. Now you can start little things right now, but what do you want to embody? What do you want to see for yourself over this next astrological year from Aries season until the following Pisces season? That's something that you need to really be thinking about. Jazzy B says, I have a playlist to help me calm my mind because it has been going crazy. Facts. Facts. It is really, really important. And I will say Pisces season, this is a time where we're ultra sensitive. We're very, very sensitive to our environment, to all the things around us, to other people's energy, to the things that we're in. I'll tell you guys a really funny story. So I want to say about 2 or 3 days ago, I was on TikTok, and I don't really spend that much time on TikTok. I do have, my content that I put up there, and I usually just put my content up and I get off. But I was drafting something, and then after that, I just kind of stuck around on TikTok, and I got pulled down one of these little rabbit holes. And I was watching content on, I don't know, it was something to do with like independence and like it was unbalanced information that they were giving women on how to like pretty much say, I'm going to use other people to my advantage to put myself ahead. And it's all about me and not about, man or anyone else. And I was kind of watching because the way that it was being delivered was very entertaining and funny, but the messaging was really, really messed up. And to the point of being sensitive to everything, that night, I proceeded to have a dream, a really bad dream about a lot of the things that was being spewed in that messaging of those videos that I was kind of going down the rabbit hole about. So I was like, okay, yeah, that is my sign to guard my gatekeepers, my ears, my eyes, my sensory, faculties, because all of this stuff is being processed. Even if you think it's entertainment, if it's funny or whatever, it's being processed on your subconscious level, and it is playing out and it is affecting you in some way, shape, or form. So when your mood gets funky, or when you now start to have an attitude, right, because of something that you consumed or some energy that you've been around, some environment you were in that wasn't great for you, you gotta pay attention to these things. These are the things that are impacting you, whether you have acknowledged it or not, or you're aware of it or not. So I just want to leave you guys with that. But social media, TV, movies, music, all of these things, even your job that you go to every day, the friends that you talk to, the people that are in your life, if they're saying certain things, all of this is a time where you're super sensitive and you're just absorbing everything. So those emotional boundaries are going to be so important during this time. Putting up boundaries, putting up levels of protection around yourself, and removing yourself from those spaces, playing that nice playlist that Jazzy B says that she has in because that's what's going to keep you anchored and kind of keep you in a good space energy wise. Yes, you got to be mindful of what you feed your mind and your bodies. Amen. Or ashe, whatever you want to say there, but that is definitely something to keep in mind. So eat well, drink lots of water. I'm saying hydrate. And that was one of the things that I keep trying to remind people to do, is because all of this is like air and fire energy this year that we're diving into. And that means that we're constantly running our energy, we're burning our energy, and we're processing a lot mentally, both on a conscious and a subconscious level. And that really requires that we're taking care of ourselves well, nutrition wise. So water, lubricating that brain. You need that water. Yes, Jazzy B, we need that playlist. Share that playlist in the comments. Okay. Well, that is all that I have for you all. If you guys don't have any particular questions, I do want to say that I hope you all have a great new full moon. I always want to say new moon. Full moon in Virgo, that you are able to upgrade those main characters, and that you don't allow this frustration or this heaviness of this energy to keep you down, but you use this to actually boost yourself up, because we got a lot of things to do out here. The year's moving fast. We have a ton that's coming in terms of things in the future, things that we can sense, things that we can't sense. And so we have to be adaptable. We got to be flexible, like this energy is calling us to do through those changes. Okay. So I will see you all in the next video. And that, I don't actually know what my next video is. It's something that I already have filmed, but it's late and my brain is shutting down. So I will see you all in the next one. Happy full moon. Happy, just dreaming up this next stage of life for yourself. Love you all. Peace.